Why don't I have any audio at the start of the video? Oh, because my audio was turned off, that's right. Okay. So this is SMRPG, the Beat Culex category. This is a category that was just routed this year in 2017 that the SMRPG community decided to race for the American anniversary back in May. Just because at the time any percent was the only category really run, but we kind of wanted something shorter for when we don't really have 3 hours to spare, so that's where this category came from. The requirements of this category... Oh, there's my audio. Let me turn that down a little bit. The requirement of this category is to play the game up until you fight the superboss Culex. And you gotta beat him. So at the start of the run, this part is similar to any percent. You're just running through Bowser's Keep, and you skip these fights here. They don't give you any XP or do anything useful, and here you have to fight 4 terrapins. What I'm doing here is I'm attacking each of the terrapins on a specific frame to guarantee that they will not punch me, and that's called the terrapin RNG manip. So I didn't get punched at all between these 2 attacks. And because I hit the right 4-frame window there, I didn't get punched again, and I hit the right 8-frame window there, and I don't get punched by the last one. So I just got through that fight by manipulating the RNG and not getting attacked even once. Pretty standard stuff. You come here after the terrapin fight to fight Bowser because he's captured Princess Toadstool, and as is the plot of every other Mario game, you gotta rescue her. And, similar to the first iterations of the Mario series, you rescue her by destroying the support stand that Bowser is on. So here, I'm not going to attack Bowser. I'm going to use the Y button, which is my special attack, instead of the A button, which is my standard attack, to attack the chain. Each of these attacks that I do is costing me 3 flower points, and flower points in this game is equivalent of magic points. You start off with 10. But at this stage of the game, they're healed between every fight, just to be beginner friendly. So I come into this fight with lots of flower points. I only gotta do 2 jumps to take out the chain. If I had done 2 attacks, I'm not sure if it would have killed it or not, like with the A button, but you want to use as many jumps as possible here because one thing that's interesting about Mario's jump attack is that every time you use it, it actually powers up your jump attack by a little more for the rest of the game. That's why in the Hammer Bros fight you'll see it do 43 and then 45 damage. That's not RNG, that's the attack getting powered up. Hey, what's up, DJ Nintendo? Good to see you, dude. Hope you're enjoying my Beat Culex PB restream with commentary. Oh yeah. Okay, so that fight's over. I rescue Princess Peach, and then we have the opening cutscene of the game. So as I'm trying to rescue Princess Peach, a giant sword flies out of the sky out of nowhere, but you know what? We don't fight that boss in this run, so this part is like kind of irrelevant. But anyway, he appears, crashes the Star Road, and the Star Road's broken into 7 pieces, and that's bad news, because the Star Road's what grants people's wishes, so if Star Road's broken, your wishes ain't coming true. That means Peach is not rescued by Mario, even though she was just there. She gets thrown onto Booster's balcony, and I get thrown back to my house, and Bowser gets sent God knows where. DreamHack Montreal, yes, I will be there. In fact, I'm running this game in this category at DreamHack Montreal. I'm very much looking forward to it. Are you going to be there too? Because that looks like it's going to be awesome. So my audio was like a little bit messed up in this video, unfortunately, but you know, that can happen. So because I got the terrapin manip, this is like as fast as you can get to the pipe house. So Mario lands inside his chimney, good stuff. He's got to explain to Toad about what just happened. Tried to rescue Peach, but she's not with me, so I gotta go back to the castle to see what's up, and why is Peach not with me? I'm not really sure, dude. I can't remember what happened because I just kinda fell through a chimney. Yo, that's awesome, dude. Catch you there. That's gonna be fun. I'm only gonna be there for like a day and a half, but I'll be around. I'll come over and say hi. I'm doing 3 speedruns there. So here in the Japanese version, it's actually faster to do this little save tutorial instead of actually saving your game. I don't think that's true of the English version, but it's definitely true of the Japanese version. So you go back to Bowser's Keep, and you get yelled at by a giant sword and the bridge gets taken out. So one thing I'm going to explain before I get into the next boss fight is the concept of timed hits. As you saw when I was fighting Bowser, I've got 4 options in a battle: Y, X, A, and B. Y is your special attacks that use flower points, A is your standard attack, X is items, and B is run or defend. Your Y attacks and your A attacks have what's called timed hits, where if you hit an action command button, which is any of those 4 buttons in a certain frame window, depending on the attack, you can actually do up to twice as much damage as you normally would for that attack. Most of those attacks have a 7 frame window. Some have as small as like a 3 frame window technically, and some of them have as big as a 32 frame window, so it really depends on the attack. And you're gonna see what a difference that makes during the Hammer Bros fight, which I'm about to do after this cutscene here. So I skip these tutorials and I get some items. Toad's gonna give me 3 mushrooms. I'm gonna tell him, yes, I know what time hits are because I just explained them in the commentary. Heck yeah. Oh, Mushroom Way, swarming with monsters. We gotta be careful. So we gotta go through Mushroom Way to get to the Mushroom Kingdom to tell the Chancellor about what happened at the castle and why Peach is not rescued. So ignore those treasure chests, they only have like 8 coins in them, kinda useless. You skip Toad as well. You jump onto the side of that flower so you don't get in a fight with that Goomba, and you grab that flower in the chest. The flowers in the chest increase your total flower points, so I have up to 11 flower points I can use for attacks now, except they don't recover you, so I have 10 out of 11 flowers available for use at the moment. Do I know about timed hits? Well, watch this fight and you'll see. First thing you do is you want to do a timed jump on the left hammer bro, so I press Y during a frame window of my jump attack, and that will do 43 damage. As you can see, timed hits also apply to defending. If you defend within a 5 frame window of either one of their attacks, you take 0 damage. If you miss it by a little bit of amount, you take 6 damage like that. I think it's something like there's an 8 frame buffer on the 4 frame window where if you miss it, you take half damage. So I got the hammer bro on the left for 43 and the one on the right for 45 by doing a timed hit. Damage is statically calculated in this game, except when you have a weapon equipped for your standard attack, so the jump should always do the same amount of damage based on the formula. It only did 15 there because he increased his defense and it didn't do a timed hit, and that's because he only had 5 health left. You don't want to take out a hammer bro too quickly because as soon as one dies, the other one uses a defense up and your attacks do less. So you want to deal like maximum damage to both of them and then just like kill them both easily on your next turn. So here I'm going to do a quick menu. I'm going to just buy some healing items and some equips for Mario. And just equip them. And equipping them now gets me to skip an item tutorial, and also it's necessary for the Croco Fight. So I sell a couple mushrooms in the flower jar, so I have enough money to buy honey syrups, which recover your flower points, pick-me-ups, which revive a dead ally, able juices, which heal status effects, and armor and accessory for Mario. That's just going to make me a little bit stronger. Here I jump on Toad's head and I grab this frog coin. You can only get that once in the game. Frog coins are not as important in this route as they are in any percent, but you still want to have a couple of them to pick up some power-up items for the early game. So I grabbed that one just because it's nice and fast. I think optimally in this route, if you're doing like RTA attempts, you'd only get 6 frog coins, but in marathon strats, I go for 9, just to be really, really safe. And it'll make more sense later as to why I do that. So here Mario's just playing an epic game of charades to explain what exactly happened to Toadstool. So, I'm just kind of mashing through this cutscene here. It's mostly just an explanation of Mario has to go out and look for Peach, figure out what happened to her. She's got to be somewhere, she's not at the castle. And that's when we get sidetracked by Mallow. Mallow shows up. He's in a bit of trouble. He's chasing Croco around because Croco's a jerk and stole Mallow's frog coin. Now, we could save a whole lot of time here and just give Mallow the frog coin that I grabbed from the Mushroom Kingdom, but that would be way too easily, so instead we're going to go chase Croco down in Bandit's Way and fight him to get this frog coin back. Because Mallow needed to use that frog coin to pick up something for his grandpa, so he can't now because frog coin got stolen, so he's really sad and he's making it rain. And Mario, being a nice guy, he's gonna help him get it back. So this is where Mallow joins the party. Mallow's pretty weak. So at the start of the game, he's mostly just used for using healing items. Similar to any percent, he's not really used past Booster's Tower. This is one of the categories where you don't use Mallow very much. So here we're just like about to go off to Bandit's Way to catch Croco, and he's about to come zooming by any second now. So Mallow uses thunder and ice spells. His attack power is pretty low, but his magic is actually not that bad. It's just like his magic power is completely outclassed by Peach, so we mostly use her for special attacks in the run for any percent, and for this category we use her against Yardovich and Belome. But during Belome, her magic attack is not mandatory. In fact, it's suboptimal, but you have to use it if you don't have any freebies. But I'll get to that later. So here's a pretty standard platform. He's jumping past the Spinies. You don't want to get into any fights with these guys, because, first of all, it's a waste of time. Second of all, if you get too much EXP, it can kind of mess you up during invincibility stars later. It can cause like pauses and stuff, which make it less likely that you'll get as many enemies as you need. So I'm just chasing Croco, pretty much just holding up here. Running up to him, jumping over these guys. So here comes the first invincibility star. The invincibility stars, some of the movement for them is very, very tight if you want to be optimal. There's a route for this category where you can actually completely skip a fight in the sewers, but you need perfect movement. Oh, I got the dog jump there. That's a 2-frame trick where you jump off an enemy that you're taking out with the star, and you grab the flower out of that chest. Not mandatory, but always good to do. So I try to get 15 dogs, even though you only really need 10 or 12, because I opt to go for a strat in Moleville, where I try to grab 9 bombs if I have 5 extra EXP here, but I don't think it actually works unless I get extra EXP in the sewers as well. I was just kind of experimenting there. So here you have to chase down Croco 3 times. Oh, as what I was saying before, if you have perfect movement with your stars, then you can skip a fight in the sewers, but that's not marathon safe, so I'm doing this instead for marathon. I'm going to do that fight. I'm not going to have perfect movement for the stars, but I'm still going to get like enough to get to the proper level I want to be. Each of the enemies in the star will give you the same amount of EXP, so you want to take out like a good number of them. So this is the Croco Fight. This fight is very annoying. You're just jumping with Mario and defending or healing with Mallow. Croco can dash attack, which you can perfect block for 0 damage like that, or he can throw a bomb at you, which you cannot block, which he does here. This attack is very annoying because not only is it slow, but it's unblockable, so if you use it too many times, then you have to waste a whole bunch of turns healing. And he tosses another bomb, which means can't get the optimal fight. If you have 12 flower points and you don't take any damage, you can let Mallow die on the 4th turn if Mario's at full health, but Mario's not at full health, so yeah. But he dashes again here, which is fine, so he's not going to kill anybody. Here on his 5th turn, after 5 jumps, he will always use the weird mushroom, which heals 60 health. That's fine, that's routed into this fight. So as you can see, the jump damage is slowly increasing the more I use it. It's going to do 50 something by the end of this fight, probably 51. Yes, he is doing 51 there, and one more hit and he should be done. And that's just because the jump attack has that special property I mentioned earlier, where every second time you use it, it increases your output by a little bit. It's the only attack in the game that does that, so it gets quite strong if you use it a lot. So I got Mallow's frog coin back, yay! Now we can progress with the story. So, the level up bonuses. At each level that you get, you can choose an extra boost. All of your stats get increased by a little bit, but you can choose an additional boost for either your HP, your magic stats, or your physical stats. At each level, one of those 3 stats will offer like an additional boost on top of that if you choose it. But in this category, Mario's special is the only stat that matters, so we only give him special increases. For Mallow, we give him the stat of whatever he's about to do next. So he's about to fight Balloon with Thunderbolt, so I increase his special. Here's I'm about to do the first major glitch of the run, which is the max skip. The runners of this game, we jump over an invisible wall and evade a cutscene trigger, and we talk to the Chancellor to trigger the post-Mac cutscene to tell the game that we beat him. So I'm just going to do 3 straight line jumps here, and jump over the invisible wall and talk to the Chancellor, and now I don't have to do that boss fight. That is an enormous time save, because that fight is incredibly hard at a low level. You actually do fight him in the most of the stuff category, and in that fight Mallow has to tank it, and Mallow can only do that with equips, which he doesn't have right now, and you also need tons of healing items for that. So you really want to skip him. Normally in a marathon I would save before the max skip, and I do that because if you fail that skip, like, you have to reset, and if you haven't saved, then you're boned, your run is dead. And it's a fairly easy trick to perform if you're used to it, but it's a marathon, you want to be safe. Just be safe. Don't take chances with that skip. Once in a while you'll drop it, and you don't want that to be the run where you drop it. So that's the first of 2 major glitches that we use in the run. Looks impressive, not actually that hard to do, but it looks really cool. I've made a 25-minute tutorial video on that skip. I was also one of the people charged with routing this category. I put out the first route for this category that we used to race in the anniversary. There is more optimal routes for it now for RTA attempts, but I devised this secondary route that I use for marathons, which is a little bit slower than the optimal route. Like, you do this fight with Pandorite, for instance, which is not necessary in the optimal RTA route. Pandorite is weak to jump. He always alternates between doing fire attacks and other non-fire attacks. So on his first turn, he'll always use a fire attack, which is pretty standard. On the second turn, he does have a one-shot move that he can use on either Mario or Mallow. You want him to use it on Mallow, but he used it on Mario, of course. So I'm gonna lose some time having to revive Mario, because that attack is unblockable. And you have to do 3 jumps on Pandorite to kill him, because that does exactly 300 damage. So now I have to wait, but he's going to use a fire attack, which isn't going to kill full health Mario, so it doesn't really matter. I know I'm guaranteed to kill him on the 4th turn, just like that. So in any percent, because I got the flower jump in Bandit's Way, I could skip this flower in this chest here, but I actually pick it up just because I feel like it's safer to have more flowers for the Culex fight at the end of the game. Since this is a partial category, well, technically a partial category, we finish a boss fight that isn't even in any percent. You want to get as many flowers as possible, because, like, all the flowers you can get in the end game are not in this route, and you want to have, like, you want to be able to super jump a ton of times on Culex. So I'm going to take out those 8 rats. There's a trick called the boo jump where you can actually get 9 enemies with this, and that's something I would have to try to do if I had gotten 15 dogs in Bandit's Way, because that could save me some time in Moleville later, but that's kind of like really convoluted routing that is not guaranteed to happen anyway. But it can save you some time on the Johnny Jones fight, which is about an hour and a half into the game. So this is Below. He's the guardian of the sewers. Mostly for this fight, Mario's just doing time jumps, and Mallow's doing thunderbolts. He's alternating between thunderbolt and healing. A lot of this fight is scripted. On the first turn, Below will always use a physical attack on Mallow, which you just block. So 0 damage, perfect block, 5 frames. Do another time jump, and then Mallow used Thunderbolt last turn, so he uses Honey Syrup now. On this turn, Below can either use Sleep Sauce or do a physical attack. Physical attack is faster, and it doesn't screw around with the turn order of your fight, so I got that, and that's good. Mallow's gonna use another Thunderbolt. On the next turn, he will turn Mario into a Scarecrow, I think after he's taken a certain amount of damage. Oh, it missed. That's bad. You want Scarecrow Dust to not miss, because the Scarecrow status disables your items and your physical attacks. Mario doesn't use either one of those in this fight. He can still jump as a Scarecrow. And the Scarecrow status also makes you immune to sleep, and if Mario gets put to sleep in this fight, that's really bad. So, the Scarecrow attack missing is really something you don't want to happen, as strange as that sounds. But I got lucky here, and he didn't put Mario to sleep. So I do one more Thunderbolt and one more jump, and then I should be fine. So as long as he doesn't put Mario to sleep here, then I'm good. So he puts Mallow to sleep, and that doesn't matter because one more jump and this fight is over. So I actually lost a ton of time on this split because of that death that I had on Pandorite, which is unfortunate because that was a good Balloon fight. And I also lost time from saving. So Mallow gets he gets POW there because the next time we use him in a fight is going to be versus Croco in the Moleville Mines again, and he uses physical attacks there. Because Mallow is not used very much in this route, we don't do any long-term planning for his attack stats, we just like give him whatever he needs most in the next fight. So this is the Midas River minigame. Here I'm going to collect 4 frog coins, and I'm going to collect exactly 60 yellow coins because that skips the text box and it gives you a free frog coin. You get the free frog coin at the end if you get 60 or more yellow coins, but I'm picky, so I always go for exactly 60. However, if you get less than 60, you don't get the frog coin. So it's not really that good to be picky because you do run the risk of not getting the frog coin, but because I am the way I am, I just have to go for it every time, otherwise I get mad. So here we go. I'm doing a pattern here where if you collect 13 yellow coins in the first room, here you can always skip the 4th coin in every row of 4 coins. And that will guarantee that you get 60 coins at the end if you don't get hit by any fish. There's these little fish that jump out of the water sometimes that try to hit you, but they always appear in the same place. So you just jump over them, and if you grab a coin, it doesn't matter because the coins where you jump over them are routed into your total because, like I said, they always appear in the same place. If there's only 2 in a row, you grab both of them. So there's a fish, I jump over him. So here I'm going to grab 4 coins because the fish is going to try to attack me. That is routed into the 60 coin total, so it does not matter if I get it. Well, I mean, of course it matters if I get it. I have to get it. But it's not like, oh no, I grabbed 4 instead of 3, now I'm going to get 61. No, not like that. It's routed in. So this is pretty standard Midas River. I got the 60 coins. I don't think I mentioned this before, but the frog coins are the green coins. They're separate from yellow coins because you can use them to buy certain items in the game that you cannot buy with regular coins. It's a separate form of currency. Frog coins are rare, so the items that you can get with them are like a little bit better or a little bit cooler. There's 2 shops that are exclusively for frog coins, and one of them is here in Tapple Pond. So Tapple Pond is level 2 of Cutscene Hell. This is where Mallow's from. Mallow grew up with frogs and tadpoles. He was raised by Frog Fuchsius, who was a wise old man who's also a frog. So they've decided to come to Tadpole Pond because Mallow figured that Frog Fuchsius might have an idea of where Peach and Bowser are, which we kind of need to know because that's kind of the plot of the game. So we come to talk to him, and he kind of gives us the 411 on what's going on. And that Bowser and Peach are no longer actually at the castle, they've been thrown in different directions like Mario was, and they're both out there somewhere in the world. And the star piece that we grabbed from the boss that we didn't fight in the Mushroom Kingdom, which we skipped because Mac is a DLC boss, is connected to the giant sword that Crash and Bowser's keep, but we don't exactly know why yet. We don't, at this point in the game, we don't really know why that is. But you know, in this timeline, Mario doesn't really care that much. He's like, screw the Star Road, I got a Final Fantasy fanfiction character to take out. That's my mission, man. I ain't worrying about, I don't know about no Star Road, nothing like that. I got a bone to pick with this Culex guy. So, Mario is standing here, mashing the cutscene button, kind of droning out all this stuff. He's like, this has no effect on me, but... So, Frog Fuchsius is kind of telling us what's going on. In the castle, a giant sword came through. They got tossed in different directions. Mallow's like, man, that sounds really tough, dude. Good luck with your adventure. Frog Fuchsius is like, Mallow, what are you talking about? You're gonna go with him and use Thunderbolt for a couple more fights. And Mallow's like, no, I'm not. I'm gonna use Symbols. So, okay, well, you gotta go with Mario. So it's revealed here that Mallow's not actually a tadpole. His real family is out there elsewhere in the world. He He's placed in a basket and put down the waterfall because his homeland was in peril as a child, and Frog Priestess found him and raised him as his own. So, this is the spoilers where it's revealed that Mallow is not a tadpole. Yes, Hello Temple, my not sub 15 split is actually 1458. I've never gotten a run where I had a sub 15 Croco until this one. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy 2 froggy drinks, which heal your entire party by 30 HP. You buy those regular coins. And here, with my frog coins, I'm going to spend all 6 of them to get 1 bracer and 2 energizers. Bracer ups one person's defense by 50%, Energizer ups one person's attack by 50%. In an RTA attempt, I would go for that. There's a second time I visit that menu in a marathon, which I would not do in an RTA attempt, so you'll see me do that later in this run. And that's because I buy some safety items for the Johnny fight, because that fight is very, very unsaved if you're doing RTA strats. So, Rose Way is just some very, very standard platforming, just grabbing some coins. I probably could have grabbed the flower on the island, which I think I would do in a marathon run, just to like increase Mario's FP by a little bit. Okay, when I say Mario's FP, I mean everyone's FP. Interesting thing about FP in this game is that it's actually shared between everyone in your party. So, if you have 12 flower points, and Mario uses jump, which costs 3, and then you go to use a spell with Mallow, you see you only have 9 out of 12 flower points available because Mario just used 3 of them. That's actually kind of an interesting feature of this game, and it makes you have to, like, kind of think about your conservation of flower points, except not really, because, like, flowers are everywhere in this game. You can easily max out 99, which is kind of silly. But in this run, you want to get as many as possible. So here's Rosetown. Rosetown is being assaulted by arrows coming out of the forest. Nobody really knows why. So here I only grab the flower. I don't grab the frog coin like I would in any percent, and I buy 2 wake-up pins, which I'm going to need in Booster's Tower. Like in any percent, I go into this house up here, but I only stay on the bottom floor to grab the 2 flowers. I don't grab the frog coin on the top floor, so that saves me a little bit of time. And here comes the 3rd character in our party. I'm not talking about the Mushroom Kid. I'm talking about his doll that's hiding behind the desk. This little kid idolizes Mario, and he likes to play with his dolls. Mario's kind of a celebrity in this universe, and he's very self-aware of it, which is kind of funny. So this kid is like, oh my gosh, he's actually here. Mom, they've run in. So he's like, Mom, we have a guest. And he asks me to confirm my identity. I say, no, I'm not Mario, because that saves a couple text boxes. So it's kind of mean to lie to a kid, but you know, you gotta save the frames. I'm sure Super Metroid runners can relate. So since in this guy's game, Mario just got KO'd, he's gonna bring in Geno, the original character, who for some reason is equipped with a missile launcher. And this was approved for use by children. And it knocks out a grown man. But luckily this is an inn, so he's got somewhere to sleep. And recover. So at this point, the Geno doll becomes inhabited by a spirit who fell down from the Star Road, or came down from the Star Road. The Star Road spirit is understandably concerned about the broken state of the Star Road right now and does not want to just sit around doing nothing. So he comes down to Earth and inhabits one of these dolls, so he picks the one that doesn't already have a sprite in use and inhabits him and brings him to a living form. So there you have it. Geno is brought to life. But because he was a ghost before, he's got to learn how to use his legs. So he starts walking around. He's having a little bit of trouble learning how to walk here. For some reason decides to slam his head right on the staircase. And then decides, oh man, I got this giant bump in my head. You know what? I think I'm good to go. So he walks out into the forest because he knows there's a star piece in there and there's some jerk shooting arrows at the town. So he goes to save the day. So Mario comes too. I don't think I saved here. I think in a marathon run I would save there, just because if you accidentally get into an encounter in the forest, it can be very easy to lose your run, and I don't want to have to go all the way back to max skip, so I would save there for sure. I grabbed that Kira Kira Cola out of that invisible chest, and that heals your entire party completely, but I'm not going to use it. You skip wiggle or jump in this category. It is not necessary at all to do, so you don't spend like a minute doing wiggle or jumps. You just skip them. Here I'm going to grab another frog coin because it's already on my way and it positions that bee nicely so I don't get into a fight with them. I get 3 more frog coins in this run to pick up a sleepy bomb and an extra energizer later on. That is not necessary in an RTA attempt, but in a marathon I do it. Hey, thanks guys for the good luck. This is just a restream of me commentating my run because I didn't have my mic on during the run that I did before. So, Forest Maze here is pretty standard. It's similar to any percent, just kind of running through. And here, I'm gonna save here because there is an unwinnable pattern that you can get in the Bowyer fight. That's like got a 5% chance or something. And oh, my video just like bugged out a little bit there, but that's okay. I just grabbed a red essence out of that chest, and the red essence makes you invincible for 3 turns. In any percent, you would use the red essence on Bunt Cake, but in this run, you don't do that. There's a different strat for Bunt Cake, and you save the red essence for the final boss. So here we find the guy who's been shooting arrows into the town. Kinda mean. He's also kind of like incompetent because he's just shooting arrows to be a troll. When one of his minions finds a star piece, a thing that he's supposed to be after, he tells him to shut up and stop bothering him because he's busy trolling the town. So Mario and Mal go to hide behind a tree trunk to see what's happening. And they found another star piece, just like the blue one that we glitched out in Mushroom Kingdom. And there's Gino! Where'd he come from? Well, I just followed him around, so I guess he was in the area. So that's when it's Gino versus Smithy's minion. Good versus evil, and Gino wants to take the star piece back because it belongs to everybody. And we need it to make everyone's wishes come true, and you can't be a big jerk and just steal it. So Bowyer gets mad and starts shooting more arrows, which land near Mario and Mallow. So this is like the obligatory long drawn-out cutscene where they're just kind of contemplating going to help Gino, talking about being heroes, saving the day, and then they decide to start running for it. Mal's got really, really long arms. And here we go. So Bowyer's starting to get really mad at Gino for defying him, so Gino's a little bit nervous because, you know, it's his first day with his new body and all that, but then he goes up and socks him right in the face. Oh! Amazing. What a hero. So Bowyer's mad. He's looking at him jumping on his black skateboard there, Shadows Die at your pipe, and he shoots a death arrow at Gino. I don't know what makes that arrow so special, but Mario saves the day by knocking it out of the way. Oh man, this just gets crazier and crazier. So then they had this little powwow over here while Bowyer's just like, hey, in case you didn't notice, you got like this big powerful boss kind of standing around over here while you guys having your conversation. You want to do something about that? So this fight is pretty statically routed. You don't want to mess up any of your timed hits. You want to do a timed hit with Gino, a timed jump with Mario, and one of the 2 energizes I just bought we're going to use to increase Gino's attack output. So now instead of doing 40 damage with the timed hit, he's going to do 60. So Bowyer's going to summon 3 buttons on the ground. He's going to shoot an arrow at one of them and it'll lock that button. The button that he locks is not random. It's actually chosen based on the actions you've done in the last 2 turns. So here, because we've done so many attacks, he locks the A button. And that's good, because Gino wants to use Gino Beam, which does 90 damage. But you don't want him to lock the Y button, so Mario and Mallow are just going to defend and use items, which don't increase the counter that determines the button at all. So because the attack counter is actually very low, because only Gino was attacking him, he's going to lock the X button for the rest of the turns. And that's exactly what you want in this fight, so that he can just keep using Gino Beam. So Gino needs to be kept alive in this fight. It's actually optimal if Mario and Mallow die. However, if both of them die, you have a chance of getting an unwinnable pattern. So I think in a marathon, I might try to revive one of them if they die in the first couple of turns. But in this fight I didn't, because I was just trying to get a fast time. So there he locks the X button, and Gino is just free to keep using Geno Beam. You want to make sure that he's at full health going into this phase of the fight, so if he took any extra damage, like if he had gotten bolted instead of Mario, then you would have used a mushroom to heal him. So Mallow gets bolted, but because he's defending, the damage is cut in half and he's still alive. So I don't really have to worry about Gino dying, like he's not going to get double bolted and me lose the run or anything here. So now this fight is just pretty standard. If Mario is alive in the final 2 turns, you can actually attack with Geno and jump with Mario, but because Mario's dead, you just spam Geno Beam until the fight is over. The Energizer not only increases your output from your standard attacks, but it also increases your output from your magic attacks, as well as any items that deal damage. They do 1.5 times however much they normally do. So that's the Bowyer fight. Nice and easy. The only real variation you have in that fight is what attack he uses. Like, you're always going to do the same strat, just Geno Beam the heck out of him for the last 6 or 7 turns, whatever it is. So this is where they're just kind of reconvening and talking about exactly what the Star Piece does, because Geno's from the Star Road, so he would know. He's explaining what the function of the Star Road is and why he came down to Earth to find the pieces. So they all agree to help each other on their missions, because Mario understands, like, oh, well, you know what, I know I was kind of on my own mission here, but I guess I got a greater one now, even though I'm still kind of focused on this Final Fantasy fanfiction character that I want to take out here. You guys think we can do that firstly? But they get the Star Piece. They get the Star Piece. They pick it up, and they keep going. So, that's the end of Forest Maze. Alright, so the next area that I have to go to is Millville. So I completely skip Pipe Vault and I go to Millville. Millville, I'm just gonna do some basic menuing here, gonna get some new equips to increase my attack output, because the next 2 bosses that I fight are physical based. So I'm gonna buy some weapons for everybody, and work pants. Work pants are good because they increase your defense and your attack power, and they also increase your speed. I sell the flower box there, which you don't do in other categories. I sell that flower box because it gives you 500 coins. And after Millville is done, you can buy the fireworks for 500 coins, and you trade the fireworks for the shiny stone, and the shiny stone is what you need to unlock Culex's lair. So getting that here just saves you time later, so you don't have to backtrack to come to Millville. And because you don't get as many ice bombs in this run as you do in other categories, you have a little more money to spare. When I say a little more, I mean you buy 2 less ice bombs than you do in other categories, which amounts to saving 500 coins. So, and you get those 500 coins normally by selling the flower box later, but I sell it here instead, so it works out. However, the item management later in this game is actually very different from any percent because you're at a lower level, and you need slightly more items to take out some boss fights that have to be routed a little bit differently. So it gets interesting at that point, a little more interesting. Like it deviates from any percent quite a bit when you hit like a little bit after this run, after this part. So Mobile is just kind of platforming through the cave, and of course there's a trampoline in the middle of the mine shaft. I don't know who wouldn't jump on a trampoline in the middle of the mine shaft. Seems like it makes perfect sense to me. But anyway, it's a setup, it's a trap. Croco comes up and he just like steals all my money, including the 500 coins I just got from selling the flower box. Are you kidding me, dude? Oh, now I gotta chase this guy down again. He keeps stealing my stuff, you know? But he only knows how to run around in circles, so we're gonna catch him. Gotta get my money back, so he's running around, wasting my time, so I'm gonna jump over this box and collide with them, and then we're gonna fight. So because I bought 2 energizers, I can use one in this fight. If I didn't freebie the one on Bowyer, freebie is a concept I'll explain a little bit. I use the energizer, here, but in an RTA attempt, I would only use that energizer if I freebied it. That is a freebie. When a freebie happens, the item that you just used in battle gets placed back into your inventory as if you had not used it. So you essentially get a free copy of that item, which is awesome. I give Gino the second energizer in this fight because it makes this fight a little bit faster generally. Although not quite so much if you have somebody in your party die. In an RTA attempt of this category, I would not use that energizer unless I freebied the one on Bowyer. And that's because here I buy another energizer later from the 3 frog coins that I pick up. But in an RTA attempt, like, if you're going for, like, world record, you don't want to do that second menu. That's only, like, for super ultra marathon safety, and nobody except me does that when I'm practicing for marathons. So I would not have used that energizer there unless I freebied the first one, because, like, I would want a second one for the Johnny fight, because that saves more time than this one would. But since I visit the frog coin shop twice, then I have one for Johnny regardless. And the Johnny fight comes later. So here, just going back and forth with Croco. Croco has 2 attacks in the second phase. He just attacks and attacks and attacks and attacks, so you just block. His bombs will kill Mario or Mello, which are annoying, but you don't revive them because Gino has Energizer, which makes him stronger, so he can tank the fight. Croco can sometimes, like 25% chance drop a flower box, which you can sell for 500 coins. In this category, that's not that useful. Like, it's not, in any percent that's hugely useful because it means you don't have to super jump the Zard Dragon, which wastes a ton of time. In this category, it just means that you have a slightly safer Yardovich fight that's maybe 1 less turn than it normally would be. So here I try to take out 9 bombs. And I did. I took out 9 bombs, but I realized later that it wasn't enough EXP. What I need to do is get 15 dogs in Bandit's Way, and then 9 enemies in the sewers, and then 9 enemies here, in order for Mario to be level 8 for the Johnny fight. And level 8 for the Johnny fight makes it, like, better item routing for the fights that come afterwards. But it's also not that easy to get. So, I thought I would have had enough EXP for that strat, but because I only got 8 enemies in the sewers, I actually didn't. So I didn't really need to get those 9 bombs there, but I wasn't sure at the time, so I just went for it. So I'm gonna be doing a level 7 Johnny fight later, which is like standard. So basically, nothing special just happened. This is Punchinello. I don't really know what his deal is, but because I freebied the Energizer on Croco, I'm gonna use another one on Gino here. Punchinello is the Puppet Master, although he just throws bombs at you. This fight is pretty straightforward. It's just all physical moves from both sides. You just block his attacks and block his bombs, and heal yourself with Able Juices to remove status effects if you use a Sandstorm. Sandstorm is an attack that deals damage to your entire party and inflicts the Fear status, and the Fear status drops your attack and defense in half, and because, like, this is an entirely physical-based fight and you're trying to deal a lot of damage here, you don't really want to be feared for 3 turns. It's a big waste of time, so it's a little bit faster to just use Able Juice. So he has 3 phases. I'm heading into the 3rd phase. On each phase, the bombs get larger, but that's only scary if you don't know how to perfect block the bomb explosions. Because the bigger the bomb is, the more damage it does when it blows up on you, but if you perfect block it, of course, perfect blocks make you take 0 damage. So this fight should be over very soon. I think 1 more hit and he's done because Gino's Energizer makes this fight end a little earlier than it normally would. There we go, fight's over. So, Punchinello is not a minion of Smithy, he's not really a minion of anybody, he's kind of a free agent that just, like, wants to be famous, and he thinks he has to be famous by, like, destroying you for some reason, so he likes to play with bombs. So he tries to summon a big old bomb, and it doesn't really work out in his favor. As you were about to see here. If this thing blows up, we're history! And, okay, so he's disappeared, and we're all covered in soot from the jam bomb, and the star piece that fell into the mountain is right there. So now I got 3 star pieces out of 7, but in this run, we only collect 5 star pieces. So, next thing coming up is everyone's favorite, the minecart minigame. It's a legit run if you get sub 2. In my chat, I like to run a bot minigame like Caleb Hart has where people can just guess what the minecart time is. But with my bot, whoever gets it the closest is the winner. It's not Price is Right rules. So minecart is just like, there's 2 mode 7 areas like this, and there's 2 side-scrolling platformer areas. You want to brake at corners if you're going too fast or if they're like really sharp turns, and you grab mushrooms to boost with. And you can jump over potholes and such. So you brake here because it's a couple of sharp turns, and you use the mushroom to boost there. And I'm going fast, so I brake around the corner. I've made a tutorial video for this area that's like, not like the most optimal like task strats for minecart, but it will like get you a sub 2 guaranteed if you don't make any mistakes. If you just, it's just a matter of like remembering what's coming up and just remembering the route and using a couple of visual cues to grab the right mushrooms. So this area here, you just kind of jump. You're just kind of jumping around, and here mostly you just kind of have to remember, like, get a feel for when you're supposed to jump. Like that jump right there, you have to like be practiced at. But oh, that was messed up. I jumped by accident there, but it didn't matter because you want to have 4 mushrooms and a 53 when you come out of here, which I did. There's a visual I used in that previous room where I look for a certain mushroom on the top of the screen, and I know that's like when I have to jump to get a bunch of other mushrooms. It's kind of crazy. I made a video about that. This room is like, oh, so many twists and turns. You have to make sure that you're holding the right direction at a fork in the road, otherwise you're going to lose a ton of time to going on tracks that are just kind of like snaking around. So I got both proper turns, and I'm just going to boost, brake around the sharp turns. Pretty standard stuff. Jump over the pothole. So this is looking like it was a sub 2 minecart. I'm pretty sure it was. 137 is like a guaranteed sub 2. It's like 157, 158 pace. So just in here you're just jumping and mashing X basically and grabbing as many coins as you possibly can. Oh, I missed a mushroom there, but that doesn't really matter because like you use 1 more and you go off the edge anyway, like that. That's a good 157 minecart. 157 is the time that I usually get, anywhere in that range, from low to high 157. So the 2 kids that were trapped in the mine have been returned home, and we got our star piece, so things are good. Things are looking good in the Mushroom Kingdom. And here comes the Sniffets, Booster's little minions. They're collecting beetles because Booster, who is a new character in this game, is obsessed with beetles, but he doesn't have time to catch them himself because he's been busy entertaining a girl that landed on his balcony after she fell to the sky. Sounds familiar. So that kind of puts a bug in Mario's ear, no pun intended, and he decides to go and check out what's going on. But before that, gotta buy the fireworks. So buy the fireworks here with the 500 coins I got from the flower box that I stole when I first got to Moleville, and that flower box came from Bowyer. It's a guaranteed drop from him. And I trade the fireworks to this little girl here, and she gives me the shiny stone. The shiny stone is a crystal that opens Culex's lair, so now when I get to Monster Town, I can fight him without having to backtrack. Fun fact for anyone who played this game as a kid, in this category you beat Culex without the lazy shell at level 12. Or, sorry, level 11. Maybe it's level 12, I forget. I ran out of this category and I can't remember if it's 11 or 12. I think it's 11 though, pretty sure it's 11. So here's Bowser. He's lost his army. That's unfortunate, poor guy. No loyalty these days. And it's Peach. She is the one that landed on Booster's balcony. The trio have been reunited. Bowser's like, hey, I got better things to do than stand around here. You know what? I totally didn't get kicked out of my castle, man. I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, oh, you can't get in the tower now. Well, let me help you out, shorty. So he breaks down the door and he says, I know what you're thinking. All this strength and looks too. And he makes it out like you're joining his army, but he's actually joining your party. Good old Bowser. So, this is the part of the game where Mallow is no longer used unless you accidentally get into a fight inside Booster's tower. Unless you're playing the most of the stuff category, in which case you actually do use Mallow later on. So, if you like Mallow, run that category. If you don't like Mallow, run any other category but that one, including this one. And this is Booster! Booster is an overgrown man-child who does not have any understanding of how anything works, and is a very, very, very silly man. He has some incredible dialogue in the English version, including when he believes that Peach shouting, Mario help me, is a sign of happiness, and then puts two and two together and figures out that you might be some guy named Mario who she's calling for. I jumped over that green switch there because, I don't need to revisit Booster's past in this run. It's not necessary at all. In other runs, you go back to Booster's past to get stuff. In this category, you do not. So you skip the green switch entirely. In fact, it also makes this room faster because you don't need the frog coins here. So you just jump up the stairs. And you don't need frog coins here either, so you can just kind of skip it like that. Easy checkerboard room. I hesitate a little bit there just because I wanted to be absolutely sure that I didn't trigger the trap in the leftmost corner. If you step anywhere on the 4 leftmost tiles, then a fireball will appear and you can't run away from that, and that wastes like 45 seconds, and you don't want that to happen. Really, really, really bad. But if that happens, you just have Mallow use Thunderbolt and you get out of there pretty unscathed, I should say. You just run away from Booster tossing bombs at you, no big deal. So in here, once again, because I don't really need the frog coins, I just grabbed that chest on top, and that's a one-frame trick I just got by accident there, where I fell through the bottom chest, and it saved me a little bit of time. I only grabbed the top treasure chest, the invisible hidden goodie bag. The goodie bag is just an item that you sell for 555 coins later to get a bit of money for damage items, and what it normally does is it uses... You just use it in battle and it gives you 1 coin. That's literally all it does. So here Booster is gonna do a bit of a wedding rehearsal. His wedding rehearsal, there's like kind of a gaping plot hole here. About 3 minutes ago he had no idea who Mario was, and now here he knows that Mario always shows up to ruin the fun somehow, and also has a doll of you. I don't really understand, but it's Booster, so you don't ask questions because Booster is cool. And he's got a sick tower and the best theme song in the game. So here's the curtain minigame. You have to not get caught while the Sniffets are checking behind the curtains. If you get caught too many times, well, first of all, if you get caught even once, you have to start the whole minigame all over again. It has 3 phases. First where one guy is checking, then when 2 guys are checking, then when 3 guys are checking. If you get caught, you start all over again from the very start where it's just one guy checking behind the curtains. If you get caught 3 times, you have to fight Booster and you don't get the amulet. That is a reset, because you need the amulet in this run, and also fighting Booster is very, very hard when you're at like level 5. But luckily, these guys always have the same curtain check pattern, and that's why I'm able to stand in corners and make fun of the fact that they can't see me despite me being right in their line of sight. Good old sprite detection. Look at that, look at that, they can't see me! What is this? Look at that nonsense. Boing is tilting me. What is Boing doing, Daniel? Is he playing this game? So then Booster finds you, but he doesn't care because he just realized that his doll's on top of the curtains, and he's sad because how did his doll get up there in the first place, and how's he gonna get it down? He's so short. He's so short. But Mario's a nice guy, so he's gonna get the doll back for Booster. Now Booster doesn't care that you're here to steal his wife anymore. He's just happy that you got his doll of yourself back for him, and he gives you an amulet, which is a really good equip, and wishes you happiness for the rest of your life. This character makes no sense, and I love it! I love it! And of course the password for the door is whatever your file name was. So here, Mallow goes away for the rest of the run, and Mario gets the amulet, Bowser gets work pins, and a wake-up pin. So in this fight, these 2 guys can put you to sleep or mute you, and the wake-up pin makes Bowser and Geno immune to that status, so it doesn't really matter if they get hit by that. If Mario gets hit by Echo Finder and gets muted, that's bad. You have to waste one of Geno's turns to heal him. But these guys are both susceptible to the fear status, so Bowser uses Terrorize. Terrorize has a 10% chance of missing each target, so there's an 81% chance it'll hit both, but sometimes it can miss one or the other, and that'll change up the fight a little bit, but there's like tons of strats for this fight. No matter what happens, there's a way to finish the fight. Like, you don't really get screwed over in this fight except by losing a little bit of time. So that attack was Echo Finder. That would have muted Geno if he did not have the wake-up pin equipped. So now their attack and their defense is halved. So I'm doing 320 damage with the Fire Orb. That's actually the maximum damage you can do with Fire Orb. That means that my mashing was perfect, and I did the max amount of Fire Orbs that you can possibly do. If your mashing is slightly off, then it stops you, and you don't get as many Fire Orbs out until until you get an acceptable window again. So this is besides the fact that he's using slow attacks, this fight is pretty standard. I didn't have anyone not get hit by fear, Mario didn't die, he didn't get muted. It's pretty easy. So that's the Tower Bros fight. The fear status lasts for 3 turns, so if it misses one of them, then you kind of have to focus on taking out the one who did get feared, unless it's Knife Guy. You gotta kill Knife Guy immediately if he doesn't get feared. And that sucks because then Great Guy's fear wears off by the time you can start fighting him. If you don't kill them immediately, then they power up and start using really strong attacks like Meteor Blast, and you don't want that to happen, so you gotta take one of them out ASAP so you only get the weak attacks. And here comes the worst minigame ever, Booster Hill. The reason I say this is the worst minigame ever is because you're chasing Booster and Peach up the hill and you gotta bump into Peach to grab flowers, and the flowers of course increase your flower points. There's 4 phases to this. The first 3 phases all have barrels. The last 3 phases all have the Sniffets running up behind you. The Sniffets, however, the frames on which you can jump on them will sometimes be inactive, so even if you bounce off their head, you're still not you're gonna tumble backwards and fall back super far and not be able to get any flowers. It's kinda nonsense. I'm really hit or miss with this minigame. I think in this run I got like a decent amount. I can't really remember, but I had like a good amount of flowers for Culex. So we'll see what happened here. In Mario RPG chats, people like to make guesses onto like how many flowers you're gonna get. It's called the Call Your Shot minigame, and like in Caleb Hart's chat, I've got a bot where people can input their guesses and people get points for being close to it. And I take the points, and whoever has the most at the end of the month gets to pick a streamer of their choice that I donate $20 to. It's kind of cool. And the points are only accrued by making guesses in minigames. So this is, the barrel placements are random. Like, whichever one comes out first is random. And in the second phase where there's 2 barrels, the locations that they're at, like whether it's left and right, or middle left, is also random. So this minigame kind of sucks. There's like no real way to practice for it. The only part that you can practice like consistently is the first phase, and the first phase is like super easy. Even though I missed a flower in that phase. Whoops. So this is pretty decent. I haven't had any real nonsense happen here except that, oh, that was bad. I was so close that I didn't get the freaking flower. Look at that. There we go. There are times where like I'll intentionally not jump on a snippet because Mario has an upper bound as to how far he can go, and I know that booster is going to start moving back soon, so I wait a little bit before I jump on the snippet. Like I'll go for, oh, I got 13. That's actually a really good number. 13 is extremely good because in this category you need as many flowers as you can possibly get for the final boss fight. Because you can't be farming flowers in like Nimbus Land and Barrel Volcano and Bowser's Keep and Factory. No, you gotta get all your flowers right now. So you want to get a lot from that minigame. So this next area, Booster has taken Peach away to the wedding chapel because he wants to have a party, and in his mind party equals wedding, so he has to get married if he wants to have a party. So I gotta rescue her because she does not want to get married to Booster. Even though he's got like a sick tower, like she doesn't want to marry him. Like he's just not her type. But even though he's got like a sick tower and a train and everything, like I don't know. I think he's got a lot going for him personally, but Peach is just not into that, so whatever. Gonna make a save here because this fight is super unsafe. In other categories of this game, you use the red essence in this fight to make Mario invincible for the second phase because the Kate's magic attack is very strong. In this category, however, you can't afford to use the red essence here because you have to save it for Culex. So we do something much less safe, but still mostly safe. The bracer I bought back in Tadpole Pond, which increases your defense by 50%. You use that instead of the red essence, and that protects you from most of the cake's magic. However, you're still very vulnerable if you get hit by a sandstorm. So that's why I make a safety save right there, because there is a chance the run can die here, which means you have to do this cutscene again, which is unfortunate, but that's why I submitted 2 hours as my estimate for this run. So this minigame here, Peach has dropped her wedding gear and you gotta talk to all these guys. Their movement is random and very annoying. They like to run away from you when you're like super close. Like, look at that, look at that, look at this guy. What's he trying to pull? Then you grab the last one from on top of Booster's head and you talk to him, and then you just smash through a little bit more text. And Peach is happy because you came to save her, but then she's like, what the heck is Bowser doing here, Mario? What is going on? Like, what? How did he even get in here? Like, and she's like, okay, I don't care, I'm giving you a kiss because you saved me. And then Bowser and Booster are getting mad because they want a kiss too. She's like, I don't care, dude. But if you do really bad in the snippet chasing minigame, then Peach doesn't kiss you, but either Booster, Bowser, or Booster and Bowser at the same time do, which is kind of funny looking. So everyone gets confused, and we get some fanfiction material going on here. But then now that Mario's here, everyone's like, okay, we're going home. And Bowser's like, yeah, well, whatever. But they get stopped because the 2 chefs want to bring the wedding cake in. Looks pretty delicious if you ask me. Here comes the wedding cake. They're like, wait, hold on, what's going on? Are you guys just gonna leave without the cake? Like, what? So they get pretty mad at this predicament. So they start fighting me because I'm trying to leave without the cake. This fight is extremely difficult to do if you are a casual runner of this game. Because in this first phase, there are 3 phases of this fight. The chefs are attacking you here, the cake is not. if you don't perfect block the chef attacks, you are probably going to die in phase 2. So I'm trying to perfect block everything, and I just use the bracer on Mario so he's got increased defense. So that means, like, if I get hit by the chefs, like, it's not as bad, but you still really, really want to avoid it. So, once this cutscene happens a second time, this is the first time the cutscene happens. Once it happens the second time, you've left phase 1 and phase 2 starts. Phase 1 is just getting attacked by the chefs and blocking them. But phase 2, phase 2 is a whole nother can of worms, because the top half and the bottom half of the cake are both trying to attack you. They both have very strong magic, but they also have physical moves. You can block their physical moves perfectly, so you want to hope for a lot of those, but they also have attacks like Blizzard, Sandstorm, Drain Beam, Diamond Saw, and Sandstorm is a really bad one because, as you remember, Sandstorm drops your defense by half. So if you get Sandstorm and then Blizzard, like, that won't kill Mario, but it's gonna put him down to like 10 health. So here I'm only using untimed attacks because there are... Oh, that was bad. I did not block that properly. There are 5 candles on top of the cake's head, and any physical attack you do will blow out a candle. It respawns 1 candle every turn, and when all 5 candles are blown out, any attack will kill it. Ooh, there comes Sandstorm. This is bad. Mario's got 9 health left. Oh, but he attacks Gino and I blocked it! Ah, that was awesome. So that means because he's only got 2 candles left and I got 3 guys alive, phase 2 is about to end right here, and we are getting through this fight safely. I have lots of healing items, so probably even if Mario died, I could still get through that fight okay. I've had to do that before. It's just like, if you get Drain Beamed a billion times, and like Diamond Sawed a billion times, or like Blizzard, Blizzard, Blizzard over and over and over again, and then Gino's dead too, because he's super weak. Like, look, watch this. Look, Mario's dead. Gino's almost dead. Pretty hard for Bowser here. He's trying to manage this team, be like, guys, really? Am I the only one trying to live here? Here, because everyone's pretty weak, I just, kind of tank with Bowser. Bowser can keep attacking as long as he has 28 health or more. If he has 27 or less, then he can die to Drain Beam if he has Fear, so you want to be careful and heal him with one of your remaining mushrooms if that happens. But because, like, he hasn't reached that threshold yet, it's just faster for me to keep attacking instead of healing my other guys. Because the other guys die to, like, everything. It could have been faster for me to heal Mario there, but he might just get Sandstormed again, and I figured, you know what, I'm just going to keep attacking. In fact, in retrospect, I probably should have healed Mario to pick me up, because there would have been a chance that, like, he doesn't use Sandstorm. So, like, the gambling optimal move there would have been to revive Mario instead of just continue attacking with Bowser, but he used Sandstorm, like, every single turn, so I just kept attacking with him with Bowser. So when Booster comes out, he just eats the cake. Phase 3 of that fight's not that bad because the Raspberry only has 4 attacks. It's got 2 physical moves and Drain Beam and Sandstorm. And you can manage your party a little bit more effectively when you don't have to worry about Blizzard and Diamond Saw. And it's also, like, much easier to manage your damage that way, and that's why I know that 27 is the threshold for Bowser. In my previous PB of this run, I had absolutely awful RNG on the cake. So Mario levels up there because I got, like, some additional EXP from Moleville Mines. That, like, you don't normally get in any percent. See, it's a little bit stronger right now, but that doesn't matter that much because the next time that I'm gonna get EXP is during the star in C anyway. So there's, like, no more fights between now and King Calamari. So it doesn't really matter when he hits level 6 because he's gonna get it anyway by the time you get to King Calamari. Okay, so once you leave Marrymore, because Booster has a short attention span, and in Booster's mind, a wedding is a party. So he eats the cake, so that means the party's over, so that means the wedding's over and he can go home. In Booster's mind, it doesn't register that when you get married, typically your bride comes home with you, so he just left Peach there and left. So Peach is like, okay, I guess I'm going home. So she goes back to the Mushroom Kingdom with Mario. And we pick up the thing that Mallow was supposed to get for his grandfather about 40 minutes ago, and no, sorry, that was 55 minutes ago. And pick that up now, because it's faster to get it now than it was to get it earlier, so you get that. So that's important because you need that item to go to Tadpole Pond again, because you gotta go Tadpole Pond next to unlock Star Hill, but you can't unlock Star Hill unless you give Frogfucius his cricket pie. So you pick up the cricket pie since you have to come back to Mushroom Kingdom here anyway. It's faster than getting it earlier. So this is, I don't know, level 5 of cutscene hell, I would guess. I've lost count at this point of how many cutscene hells there are. But this is known in the community as ABC, the automatic boring cutscene. It's very long, but because I run the Japanese version, it's quite fast. It's faster than it is in English. I think the English version of this cutscene has an extra minute of mashing. So I'm going to explain some differences between the English and the Japanese version. There's actually not that many. In fact, there's almost none. The English version just has slower text. That is the only difference that matters for gameplay. There's some aesthetic differences, like Bowser's victory sprite looks a little bit different, the colors of your buttons are a little bit different, but none of that really matters that much. It's just that the text is slower in the English version. Everything else is exactly the same. There's no glitches that only work in one or the other. The only other difference is that in other categories where you have to RNG manipulate the doors in Bowser's Keep, you can manipulate that by dismissing the final text box on the bus cutscene in Nimbus Land. And you can do that at a certain point in the Japanese version by following an audio cue. And that guarantees that a certain flowchart will allow you to not get any battle doors. That doesn't work in the English version the exact same way because the text takes too long to mash it to dismiss it at the proper time, so you have to use a different audio cue entirely for a different flowchart. So same strat, just works slightly different in the two versions. That is the only difference between the two games as far as gameplay is concerned. That and the faster mashing. So I can run this in either version as requested, but the English version would be longer because of the longer text. Here what happens, I don't think I did the Peach glitch here. No, I didn't, because it's 3 seconds slower. If you open a menu and go talk to Peach, her sprite kind of explodes. If you want to see what that looks like, watch my RPG Limit Break VOD. I did that glitch during that run, it looks really funny. And it doesn't affect the game at all, it's just like 3 seconds slower than running back inside and running back out. So during a marathon, I'll pretty much always do the exploding Peach glitch because it's funny. But I didn't do it here. Because this run was on good pace. So back to Tadpole Pond. I'm gonna give Frogfucius the cricket pie and then talk to him a second time to unlock Star Hill. And then after that, I'm gonna go visit the Frog Coin shop a second time. In an RTA attempt, you don't do the second Frog Coin shop. I just do that because I get some items that make the run a little bit safer later on for a marathon. But don't do this in an RTA attempt, it's a waste of time. You can do the Johnny fight without this item here, it's just less safe. Much less safe. And it's so unsafe that it would lose a lot of time in a marathon to do that strat, and you don't want that, but in an RTA attempt you have to take that gamble. Well, it's not even really a gamble, it's just like extremely, extremely precise and easy to drop. So you can afford it in an RTA attempt, not so much in a marathon. So I like to just take the safer strats. So this is Star Hill. There's 3 areas. And there's these starflowers that you have to talk to. And if you talk to all the starflowers in one room, then it opens up the door to go to the next area. The first room has 5 starflowers, the second room has 6. There's an optimal way to talk to all these flowers because there are some invisible walls in this area, so I'm just doing like the optimal pattern to talk to them. I actually made an app for Android where you can like memorize the order of the stars by just like looking at a map of Star Hill and tapping on the flowers in the right order, and it'll tell you if you did them right or not. And it lights them up when you tap them. It's kind of cute. So here, I find a free star piece. This is the 4th star piece. There's 7 in total, but in this run, you only collect 5. So it's got the 4th one for free, no boss fights or anything. Now, the 4th one is deceptively free because the 5th and the 6th star piece, both of them, you get the star piece from a boss fight, and then it gets taken away from you, and you gotta do another boss fight to get it back. Both the 5th and the 6th. So, like, what's going on, man? Like, why? I don't know why the game is so rude to Mario, but that's what you gotta do. But in this category, you only do the 5th one. You don't gotta worry about the Axum Ranger stealing your 6th star piece because Mario is just here to take out this Final Fantasy fanfiction character. He doesn't care about nothing else. So I grab the last flower and I'm out of there. So the next area is Seaside Town. Seaside menu is kind of easy to mess up, so I usually make a safety save here before I do it, because if you accidentally sell the wrong thing, it can really mess up your route for the rest of the game. So I just, and you're like you're mashing buttons kind of fast in this menu, so I just make a quick little safety save first. Unfortunately, I did this menu pretty badly in my PB, so I'll explain what I would have done differently. This part is fine. I'm unequipping everything I need to unequip. I'm just taking off a bunch of their stuff. Mallow loses all his equips because he doesn't get used anymore. Peach gets work pants because she comes in later. I sell all my small items except for 1 honey syrup and 1 energizer and a red essence, and I sell 3 Kiro Colas. Then I buy some attack items. Then I want to sell... I sold the froggy drink there. I shouldn't have. I was not supposed to sell that. Normally you sell it if you have 2, but I forgot that and I sold 1 by accident when I only had 1. So I was just kind of like going back and forth being like, uh-oh, what do I do now? I could have reset here, but I didn't really want to. I just wanted to see if I could keep going if this happens. So I'm fine. I got enough coins to buy more stuff. I sell my 4 flower items, buy 4 more fire bombs, and then I just look at my items one more time and I'm like, what do I sell? Nothing. Okay, so I sell all my equipment and I get the last of my items, which is some more fright bombs and a fire bomb. But because I sold my froggy drink and I might need that for Yardovich, I have to go back to Temple Pond and buy 1 more. Like, not a huge deal, it's just gonna lose me like 30 seconds, which is bad. That is a mistake I have actually never made in a run before, so now that I made it once, I know never to do it again. Don't sell your froggy drink if you only have 1. I'm used to having 2 there, because in like almost all of my any % runs I have 2, so I sold it by accident. But that won't happen a second time. Now here, I'm going to do the second major glitch in this run, which is the ability swap. I make a safety save here because it's very easy to mess up. The ability swap happens when you get an invincibility star, and you open the menu as you're opening the chest. You're not supposed to be able to open the menu during the star, and in fact you can't except during that chest animation. So I swap Peach and Mal's positions in the party, and I run around and grab all these stars. You have to knock out every star to get your EXP in the right place. I don't think it's actually as important in this category as it is in any %, so I probably didn't need to make that safety save. But it's better to do just in case I accidentally, like, my thumb slips and I don't hit the X button. So Bowser and Geno I'm giving HP here because their attacks are not actually used for the rest of the run. They only use items. So you see I gave Mel special there. You'd think that I would give him HP because it's the quickest thing to select for a character that we're not using anymore. I gave him SP because the ability swap, when I swatched Peach and Mal's positions in the party, the game got confused. And when Mallow leveled up, it said he leveled up to level 10, so it gave him certain stat boosts, as well as the attack shocker. Well, Mallow wasn't at level 9 when I got that, so Peach was at level 9. So she just got all of Mallow's attributes. She got all the level up bonuses that were supposed to go to Mallow, as well as his attack shocker, so she just learned an electric attack. Here I buy three maple syrups for safety on Culex. That is going to come much later, but it's on the way, so I pick it up there after getting the 100 coin chest. So because of the menu glitch with the invincibility star, because Peach reached level 10 and I swapped her with Mallow, she got all of Mallow's level 10 attributes. So she knows his attack now, and that'll come into play later. The King Calamari fight is mostly just using the fire bombs that I just bought in Seaside Town. In the Seaside menu that I was doing, even though I messed up with the froggy drink, I still got all the items that I had to get, which was a couple fright bombs, ice bombs, fire bombs, and a bad mushroom. And you get those just as backup on the Artivich fight, because depending on the strat that you have to do on Johnny, and depending on your level up bonuses, you might want to have to do one or the other. You may not need all those items for your Artivich, depending on how your freebies look as well, and also what level Mario is when he goes into Johnny. And the level that Mario is when he goes into Johnny, in an RTA attempt, can determine what items you use, but there's a new route right now, I think, that removes that difference. So we have to look at rerouting the Seaside menu a little bit. That 2 attack damage is actually very important, that 2 damage attack, because Mario here only does 79 if you didn't jump on the cake. If I didn't attack with Geno, King Calamari would still be alive with 1 HP right now. So I freebied 2 fire bombs there, and that's good. Because, so that bad Seaside menu cost me about 40 seconds, but that won't happen in a marathon. So freebiing 2 fire bombs there is good, because I bought 2 fright bombs for the Artivich fight, and I can use firebomb freebies instead. This is kind of bad. I was trying to do a movement tech there where I jump on top of the bullet bill, but I was doing it a little too early and I got knocked off. So it looks pretty bad, but I can also just like wait and let him go by so that doesn't happen. Or I can just do it properly, but I was a little bit nervous on this run after I was kind of tilted by my Seaside menu, so I was like not doing some things very, very correctly. So, in the any percent run, freebies of bombs are extremely important. In this run, not so much. The freebies will help you for Artivich. If you have firebomb freebies, you can... Oh, I got into a fight here. Once again, I was a little bit tilted. And then it doesn't let me run away for a while. This is unfortunate. I lost like a ton of time to these fights. So this run, I think, would have been a much better time if that hadn't happened. And then the linebacker fish at the bottom wouldn't leave me alone, so... But I got away from him. So here you pick up the safety ring. And I got a little... I was like, oh wait, this isn't any percent, I don't need to do a menu here. I'm gonna take Bowser into the Johnny fight. And you take Bowser into the Johnny fight if you have an Energizer. Because if that happens, you can kill all of Johnny's cronies and still boost Mario's attack without having to use Geno Boost. And that means that Johnny's cronies will not attack before you and they won't kill you. Otherwise, you'd have to bring Peach into that fight because she outspeeds Johnny's friends and Bowser does not. But because I have an Energizer, I can just have Geno disable Johnny's enemy friends and have Bowser boost Mario's attack and then do 100 super jumps. So you'll notice that this category has a lot less menus than any percent. That's because the EXP routing for this is very straightforward. You'll also notice that we completely skipped the EXP booster. You do not need the EXP booster in this category, which is why I did not do any Wiggler jumps, and why I did not buy it with frog coins from Seaside Town. That's why I'm doing a lot less menus, because you do everything in this category at a lower level, as you do not need to do a second ability swap later on in the game. You also don't need level 15 Mario for Zardragon. None of that matters. So, in an RTA attempt, you would use a firebomb to take out Johnny's pals. I don't do that in a marathon, because I'm about to super jump here. I'm going to do 100 super jumps. Actually, no. In this run, I did 20 super jumps and then 100 super jumps. That's actually not necessary. I think you can throw the fright bomb at him instead of doing 20 super jumps. And still, like, do enough to kill him. Or, no, yeah, you can toss a freight bomb. Yeah, freight bomb would work. But I didn't know that at the time. So I did 20 super jumps and then 100 super jumps. That's because 100 super jumps is not enough to kill him. In an RTA attempt, what you want to do here is throw a fire bomb, which kills the Bandana Blues. Throw a freight bomb, which decreases Johnny's defense and does 100 damage. And then have Mario do 100 super jumps. But here what I did was I energized Mario, tossed a sleepy bomb, did 120 super jumps. You can't do more than 100 super jumps at a time, the game stops you, so I did 20 first, and then defended, and then did 100. That's slow, and there's better ways to do it. However, if you throw a firebomb and Johnny's friends are dead, and you do super jumps and drop them, then he challenges Mario to a 1v1, which destroys your EXP. In fact, in this category it might not matter, I have to have a closer look at the EXP route. But that's generally considered a very, very, very bad thing, to not have enough EXP, because you want to be at least level 11 for Culex. So that's why I did the safe strat, and I put the guys asleep, because he won't 1v1 Mario if he drops super jumps and the guys are asleep. Super jumping is chaining 100 3-frame inputs. Sorry, 87 3-frame inputs in a row. The first 13 are not quite as strict. That's 3-frame inputs on a 60 FPS game. That is incredibly hard to do in front of an audience. And it's very, very easy to drop, because you have to chain them. You can't do them cumulatively, you have to do them all in one shot. That is a requirement for this category because you cannot get the super suit equipped without it. I just did it there, I did 100 super jumps. And you want to do it on Johnny because he's the easiest one to kill with 100 super jumps, and it's the easiest place to get it, because this is right after you learn it, and it's before the part in Monster Town where you get the super suit. If you don't get 100 super jumps on Johnny, you can either do them on Balone, or you can do them on Jagger in Monster Town, since he's immune to jump, and the jumps on him still count towards the super suit. So he takes 0 damage, and you can fight him as many times as you want, run away from him, and you're fully healed. So that's why this game is awesome, because you can super jump as many times as you have to, and you're not going to lose a run to not getting super jumps. Unless you firebomb Johnny and you drop them, and your EXP route got screwed. So now I bring Peach back into the party, because I need her to use her newly learned electric spell versus Yardovich. And Yardovich is a combination of all these fake townspeople that are stealing my star piece, which is kind of mean. This fight is very, very easy to not do perfectly, so I'm going to save. Peach's electric attack has a 6-frame window to time perfectly, which has no visual cue and a not very distinct audio cue. And if you miss it, if you even half-time it and do 175 instead of 210 damage, any of the 4 times you use it, the fight can go south very quickly. There's a couple different strats you can use on this fight depending on what items you used on Johnny. I had a strat where I would throw the rock candy at Johnny, but that's not really needed now, so you can save the rock candy for Yardovich. Which means that we can do a little bit more work on the seaside menu too. I think it can be changed a little bit. So that's kind of like what I have to do over the next few weeks, is like kind of revisit the seaside menu. But here we go, here's Peach's new attack. This is a Mallow attack. So if you played this game, remember Peach doesn't have that move. So I timed it right, I got 210. So Gino is going to boost Peach and Mario to make sure they have enough defense to survive Yardovich's spells. Mario would not have survived that water blast without defending there. Except it missed him, but if it didn't miss him, then he needs to defend, so you can't gamble on it missing. So he heals the whole party, and Peach is shocked again. So the first 2 turns the same as any percent. After that is when it starts to deviate a little bit. Gino gets Flamestone here, which is great, because that means he takes 0 damage because he has a safety ring equipped, and that means he doesn't have to heal anyone, and he can just start tossing damage items. So he tosses a Firebomb freebie that I got, and Mario's going to toss a Rock Candy, and since he has an attack boost from Gino Boost, the Rock Candy does 300 damage instead of 200. Oh my goodness, and I freebied the Rock Candy. That is incredibly good. I can't remember if I used that here. I think I used it here to guarantee a 4-turn fight. You can also save it for Culex, but it's not like that gonna help you that much first him. So Gina's going to toss another one of my firebomb freebies since firebombs are useless from this point onwards. And Mario's going to toss another 300 damage rock candy. That is a lot. That is a lot of damage, because Peach's chakra right now is weaker because she's only level 10 instead of level 11, because there's no EXP booster. So I actually mistimed that one. That did 175 instead of 210, but because of the rock candy freebies, it took him out like quick like that in only 4 turns. Without good freebie luck, that fight will take you 5 turns. So if I had not got that rock candy freebie and still mistimed the shocker, I think I could have killed him with the fright bomb next turn, like on top of that, so it wouldn't have been that bad. He just does a mirage attack and then like he's not going to kill your party with 1 attack. It's a lot safer now that like the rock candy is guaranteed on that fight. You don't have to use it on Johnny. In fact, using it on Johnny I think is entirely obsolete. That was like a strat I came up with, like, because I was routing this category last minute for the race, but there's a better strat you can do. And 5 turn or less Johnny is guaranteed with rock candy, so that fight's a lot safer now than it was before. So I rescue the townspeople, and oops, I went to the wrong shop. Whoops, I gotta go to the middle shop. So I'm gonna, here all I do is sell the flower box. And I do some equip swapping, so I give the amulet to Mario and the safety ring to Gino. It's because Mario needs to do more super jumps on Belome when we get to Land's End. And I have to talk to the Elder here to unlock Land's End. So this is, like, the run has been deviating quite a bit from any percent for the last little while. A lot of the stuff that I'm doing now is very different. All the menus are different, like the order of events is a little bit different, the boss fights are different. The coin route isn't the same. It's deviating quite a bit here, and it's kind of interesting in its own right as a category. Oh no, and I got into a fight with a gecko. I was trying to do fast platforming with the geckos, but I was a little bit rusty when I recorded this video, so I didn't quite get it. You can wait 1 second and get a very easy way to get across the gecko platform that's like guaranteed to never ever fail. But because I was trying to be like risky but also rusty at the same time, I didn't get it. I was going for like the optimal strats that are much harder to do. Which I probably shouldn't have done for a marathon submission video, but... Okay, so because I got bad positioning on that flower, I decided to respawn the room because it would have ended up in me getting in a fight with a bee, and I don't want that. So I just took the safe way and I just jumped off the flower. So because I was a minute ahead here, I was playing kind of nervous, but I've run Mario RPG in countless marathons at this point, and I don't really get nervous unless I'm on PB pace, so like in a marathon run, would not have much to worry about. So the 4 ice bombs that I bought are for these 4 armor dance. There's 4 whirlpools with armor dance in them, and they're weak to ice. So Gino just tosses an ice bomb and it kills them. Nice fast fight, because you have to fight them to progress through Land's End. And if you freebie one of the ice bombs, you can use it on the Belome fight instead of Shocker, because it's like a few seconds faster to do that. It saves you like 1 or 2 super jumps, and it's also a faster attack. Other than that, ice bomb freebies in this route are pretty useless. Which is very, very different from any percent where ice bomb freebies, oh man, you want like 8 or 9 ice bomb freebies if you want to be totally optimal. Here though, only need 1. And there it is! There's the 1 freebie that I need. So here comes the last armored ant fight. So now we go into the depths of Land's End. I opted not to make a safety save here because the star here is not as important as it is in any percent. Like, if you miss one of these geckos, like, it's not a big deal. I think Mario's still guaranteed to hit level 11. Like, I missed that last one there, but that doesn't really matter. Like, there he's level 10. Peach level 12. I don't know why I gave her special, because she's not going to be using Shocker in the Belome fight. She's going to be using an Ice Bomb, so I should have given her HP and, like, saved a couple frames there. I think it was just force of habit, I gave her SP. But because we're nearing the end of the run, everyone can just get HP now except Mario. He needs special because he's going to be the only one like really dealing damage based on his own stats from now on. Everyone else is just kind of doing item damage. Okay, so that star is done, and Mario hits level 11. Mal hits level 11. Oh wait, Mario hits level 11 after Balloon. That's right, I got mixed up there. So you do not buy the trampoline from that shaman because we are not leaving Balloon's temple that way. We are leaving it out of Monster Town. So you get the fortune. You hit them in that order, so you're guaranteed a treasure box fortune. You don't have to fight anything. It's just either a Yoshi cookie or a mushroom. Doesn't really matter which. Oh, I got the Yoshi cookie. So it opens the door. Don't need those chests. They don't really do anything. This fortune here, there's two different things it can tell you, which the one that you get is random. That's the bad one. You want to get the good one to get to Balloon's lair. That's the bad one again. And that's the good one. That means I'm going to go fight Balloon. Otherwise, you get a treasure room that you can't get into yet because the key is hidden in Monster Town. So here we go. The Guardian of the Sewers has returned, and he is the last boss separating Mario from his ultimate fanfiction enemy. So to start this fight off, Balloon is weak to fear, so Gino's going to inflict the Fright Bomb on him, and that gives him the fear status. So Peach can toss the Ice Bomb for extra damage that would normally do, so it does 210 instead of 140. Then Mario is going to do 61 super jumps, I believe? I think 61. If I didn't have an Ice Bomb freebie, Peach would use Shocker and Mario would do 62 super jumps, which is a little bit slower, but the Ice Bomb freebie saves you like a couple seconds there. So once again, you don't need to do 100 super jumps on this boss because I've already satisfied the 100 super jump requirement to get the super suit as a prize from the dog in Monster Town, so you just have to do as many super jumps as it takes to kill Balloon. So you want to do as minimal as possible while still killing him to save time, which in this case is 61. So once again, super jumps are a 3-frame window that you have to chain over and over and over again. If you miss that 3-frame window at any time, Mario drops the jumps and his turn is over. And that's very frustrating if you don't get them. It's a hard technique to learn, but it's not a hard technique to do. But in front of an audience, it can be quite difficult, so that's why anything that requires super jumps, there's quite a bit of safety backups for it. As in, you can try as many times as you want to get the super jumps, because Jagger lets you do it infinite times. So there you go, I got a gold split on Balloon, and Mario is level 11, so he's ready to fight Culex. So I'm going into the Culex fight, level 11, oh that's right, I was like, oh let me go save, oh wait no I need my super suit first. Super suit and attack scarf. So for 30 super jumps you get the attack scarf, and for 100 super jumps you get the super suit. I did both those on Johnny, so I'm going to equip those onto Mario. Super suit and attack scarf are very good. They give you plus 80 speed and a ton of boost to every other stats. They make Mario very, 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 very strong. Actually, anyone who wears a super suit is very strong, but only Mario can wear the attack scarf. So I'm going to save just because it is possible to die to Culex. It's a very hard fight. This fight takes about 10 minutes or so, because you have to kill Culex by super jumping on him. Mario's super suit makes him immune to elemental damage, however he's not immune to Dark Star or Culex's physical or any of Earth Crystal spells. So Mario is actually so fast with the super suit and the attack scarf that he gets a turn before Culex even has a chance to summon the crystals. So earlier when I super jumped Johnny and Balloon, I made it look very easy. However, it is extremely difficult to super jump on Culex because as you'll notice he's floating and Mario's landing position is different every time he lands with the super jump. That means that there is no visual cue for super jumping on Culex. And on top of that, floating enemies actually have a transitioning frame window. That means that it's not a consistent rhythm. It actually differs by like up to 2 frames between each jump. And you never know how much it's going to be. So it's not like you can mentally adjust the rhythm to adjust for the floating. It's very, 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 very hard to super jump Culex, and you can drop it any time. A 2-frame window variation, a 2-frame variation on a window that's 3 frames, that's a lot of variation! That's really, really important! So that's why this boss fight is extremely hard, and this is a really, really hard category of this game to run. So every time you drop jumps on Culex, his crystals get a turn. Peach has a safety ring equipped, so she's also immune to elementals and status effects, just like Mario is with the super suit. But now that Mario's boosted and given the red essence, he's invincible to everything. For 3 turns. I have 2 red essences because I got 1 in Forest Maze and 1 in Land's End, so I have 2. That gives me approximately 7 or 8 turns to take out Culex's super jumps. When the second red essence wears off, you have to pray for your life if you haven't killed Culex yet. Because he can attack you, or Dark Star you, or Earth Crystal can attack you a whole bunch of times, and that is going to be very, very bad for level 11 Mario with no red essence, because despite having, even though he's got the super suit attack scarf, he's still very, very, very weak. If you played this game as a kid, you probably used the Lazy Shell with Peach and either farmed rock candies or used the Star Egg. In this category, we don't do that because that takes a long time, so we YOLO for our lives and do super jumps. The fact that Peach and Geno have survived this long in this fight is very unusual. That's why I made a mistake in this fight, and I should have had one of them use the maple syrup each turn, so that means that Mario will not have to use the maple syrup while he has a red essence on, because using the maple syrup wastes a turn that he could be using the super jump. And he will run out of flower points eventually, because even though I got a lot of flowers on Booster Hill, flowers are still kind of a scarcity. So that attack is Shredder, and Culex will always use it on every 3rd turn. That gets rid of any boost you have. But because Mario has a red essence, he's not affected by it. So Peach used a Firebomb there. I really should have had Geno use a Maple Syrup instead of Defend. That would have completely healed the flower points, because they're gonna both die very soon. They don't stay alive for very long in this fight, but as long as they're there, they should be healing flower points, so that there's less of a chance that Mario will have to waste a turn doing that himself. And they're both dead, and I did not use the Maple Syrup with Geno. I did earlier, but it's important to use it every turn. I could have even used the honey syrup that I didn't use on Yardovich. So here comes another round of super jumps. I was having a little bit of trouble super jumping him earlier, so my hands were shaking quite a bit here at this time. But it ended up being okay. Culex has 400 damage. Sorry, not 400 damage. He has 4,096 health. You don't bother to attack the crystals because only the Earth Crystal can damage Mario. They do waste time, but it's an even bigger waste of time to target them. Since this fight goes on for a while, I'll explain something a little bit about super jump math. When you do super jumps, it's calculated a little bit strangely. If you see somebody do 100 super jumps, you might say, wait a second, that was 101 super jumps. Okay, so here comes out the second red essence because the 3 turns have worn off. So Mario's invincible for another 3 turns. So you might say, oh, that was 101 super jumps. What are you talking about? Well, the first super jump in the super jump technique has a 60 frame input window, so it's guaranteed free. It does not count towards your total when you talk to the dog who gives you the super suit. So if you get 101 super jumps, he'll still say you got 100 because the first jump does not count. It's like in computer science when you start counting at 0. It's the 0th jump. It's also calculated differently. The initial 0th jump does the damage equivalent of 8 super jumps. So the first jump that, say you're fighting someone who's like super strong to jump, your first jump will do 8 damage and the rest of your jumps will each do 1 damage. That's why sometimes, versus bosses that have like a set amount of super jumps you're supposed to do on them, if you drop jumps halfway through, you can just subtract 8 and keep going. But that's why you subtract 8. It's a very interesting technique, and it's very, very hard to pull off, especially on floating boxes. You do not fight this boss in any percent, but he is arguably the hardest boss in the game to defeat. And defeating him at level 11 is no small feat, and this category is rounded around beating him at level 11, so it's actually a very impressive speedrun to be able to pull this off. Especially because this boss is very hard and you used to have to grind for very overpowered items to even stand a chance against him, but instead we do a speedrun of it and we kill him at a very, very, very low level. Once again, this fight is not in the any percent category. It is not included. I sometimes offer it as a bonus incentive. But we made this category for fun. It's a pretty fun category. It's extremely difficult, and you have to know how to super jump if you want to beat this category. This boss fight was a fan favorite of pretty much everyone who played this game growing up. And sometimes people who watch my speedruns of any percent ask me if this boss is in the speedrun, and they're really disappointed when I say no. So that's why it's kind of cool to offer this category. It's kind of a fan servicey category. It's shorter than SMRPG, which is kind of a time investment at a 3-hour speedrun. Not as long as other RPGs, but still decently long. So this one kind of shortens it a little bit. It's a shorter category, but you're still playing SMRPG, so it's a great time. And it's also, like, it's just so cool to see yourself be able to defeat this impossible boss at such a low level. And the music, of course, amazing rendition of the Final Fantasy IV boss theme. So I think my next round or two of super jumps will be what takes him out. I was dropping super jumps quite early because I was very nervous on PB pace. However, I have done this fight many times in marathons with no issue. So my red essence has worn off at this point, and here I was in go mode. It was do or die here. And I did it. When Culex dies, the 4 crystals also die. So that's why you don't have to worry about them. Everyone gets leveled up here. But timer doesn't end until you get the quartz charm. So if your EXP was proper, then you're gonna get through this like you should in any other run, and it won't be a time loss. And here comes a quartz charm. And that's time. So that's the beat Culex category. It's where Mario gets a little distracted from fixing the Star Road because he has a bone to pick with a Final Fantasy fan character. It's a silly little fun category, but is also extremely impressive. Anyway, thank you for considering this run, and I hope to do it in your marathon.